Hello everyone and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duelists of the Roses, a game initially released in 2001 for the PS2. And we are playing a very special version of this, which is called the Duelists of the Roses Redux Mod 1.03 by Clovis. Now there is a 2.0 version of this, Redux II Mod, which changes some more things. But I decided not to use that because I think it skips some of the cutscenes in it. It has some other changes, so we're just going to keep with the original Redux mod, which is still quite a big change over the original, such as redesigned duels, new starter deck, all 853 cards in the game are obtainable. It has an improved ranking system. It has uncensored Japanese artwork. It has other miscellaneous changes, and there's also an issue when you play this on the PCSX2 emulator when the cards attack, like they zoom in excessively, and there is a patch to fix that. So from my testing, it does not do that anymore, so that is good. And I'm also using HD texture pack that I found on gbatemp.net from, it looks like it's Pankiko. So that looks very, very nice as well, I must say. And for the border image that we have on the side, because you can't really play this game in widescreen, it doesn't, I think it just kind of stretches it, or because of a lot of the game is like the HUD, it just stretches most of it, so there's no need. That's just from basically the same thing that I use for like the Forbidden Memories and everything. So why don't we now? I've never actually played this game, but this is a very different game than a standard traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. So, what is the story for this game? Well, it's actually very, very interesting. So, there is no story in the actual game book, but there is something on the back of the game case. So, why don't we go ahead and take a look at this here now. So, it says, a new Yu-Gi-Oh! For a new generation. Amidst the dark intrigue of medieval Europe, the descendants of Yugi and Seto clash again. Choose your side in the Wars of the Roses and fight to collect all of the magic and powerful Rose cards. The ultimate tactics card battling game is here. So you have a deck leader, get ready for intense dueling, make use of the 3D card movement system. Looks like it came with some cards as well. Okay, so it's interesting because this game, it's based off the real-life events that occurred between May 22nd, 1455 and June 16th, 1487, called the Wars of the Roses. And this war was between the House of Lancaster and the House of York for control over England. And the head of the Lancasters, which was Henry Tudor, is played by Yugi Moto in this game. And the head of the Yorkist, Christian Rosencrantz, is played by Seto Kaiba. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. With that, why don't we go ahead and begin now, shall we? So we have different modes here we can do. We can continue, but we have no save data. We can do custom duel. We have no save data. Or we can trade, and we have no save data. So yeah, we really can't do much of anything whatsoever here, except for begin a new game. So, why don't we do that now, shall we? The British Empire in the 1480s. The War of the Roses, a powerful struggle between the House of Lancaster, Red Rose, and York, White Rose, to decide a royal successor, was nearing an end. With the Yorkists well in the lead, the reign of Richard III was but a step away. And in France, Yugi, Henry Tudor, the last Lancastrian heir, was being forced to live a life of exile. The Lancastrian forces were rendered powerless by ancient cards of sorcery wielded by Seto and his 7 followers, who known as the Rose Crusaders. served under the flag of Lord Crawford, a powerful Yorkist nobleman. Lacking a duelist to champion their cause, defeat was imminent for the Lancastrians. In England, dual card games were still at the fledgling stage. Thus, the Lancastrians had to look elsewhere for a duel master capable of facing the Rosencrantz in battle. With this in mind, Margaret May Beaufort of Lancaster secretly requested a high druid to summon a duelist from another age. Okay, here's Simon McMurran. Oh! Summoned from the mystic circle of red and white roses, the one capable of harnessing pure power. So as you can see, there is like this weird kind of lines underneath the text border and over to the right as well. That's due to upscaling on the emulator. And you can fix it, but when I fixed it, it causes other alignment issues for other elements. So it's kind of like, oh well, it's just something we're going to have to live with. There was truth to the legend of the Rose Duelist. Lady Margaret, I did it. Now we have the means for defeating the evil forces of Rosencrantz. Oh, my apologies. In my excitement, I had forgotten I was in the presence of a Rose Duelist. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Simon McMurran, High Druid and Servant of Lancaster. May I be so bold as to ask the name by which the Rose Duelist would like to be known? Alright, so we get to create our own name, so... Give ourselves a good old name of scumbag, Good old name of scumbag honestly sounds kinda good. But now I think I'm gonna go with the good old classic. Good old classic Rooster. With an exclamation point at the end. That looks good. That looks good. Rooster? A fine name indeed. Indeed it is. Indeed it is, sir. Now, here's the situation. The year is 1485 and you are currently in Stonehenge, near Salisbury, England. The British Empire is in turmoil with the House of Lancaster's rightful claim to the throne being challenged by the Yorkist usurpers. The power struggle is referred to as the War of the Roses, a name based on the badges used on both sides, a red rose for the Lancastrians and a white rose for the Yorkists. Right now, our kingdom is threatened by the Yorkists and their wrongful claim to the throne, all because the Yorkists enjoy the support of the Rose Crusaders and their sorcerous white rose cards. Using our red rose cards, we summoned you, Rooster, to this day and age. We hope that your dueling experience would defeat the Rose Crusaders and lead us to victory. You will help us. Of course you will. Foolish of me to even doubt where your loyalties lie. Rumor has it that only the legend, the legendary Rose Duelist, stands a chance against the power of Rosencrantz. We appreciate any help you can provide against them. Before I forget, I should warn you that the rules to dueling differ here from those of your age. That's right, it's a completely different type of Yu-Gi-Oh game. Here in England, dueling is governed by what we know as the perfect rule. In addition to several minor distinctions, there are two major differences. One is the existence of movement or positioning. The other is the deck leader concept. These are two aspects of dueling that were lost in the process when the ancient sport of duel monsters was adopted to card form. The perfect rule represents these lost rules that were miraculously revived here in England. Perhaps a practice duel will serve better than an explanation, shall we? So, yes I will. I'm going to do a practice duel so we can learn how to play the game. Because this is quite a different game than you may expect from Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's start with the basics of dueling. First, let me show you how to summon a monster. To bring a monster into play, you must summon it from your hand to the field. Now let's draw a card from your deck. Dark Magician. Currently, the card you're indicating is your deck leader, the Dark Magician. Let's order your deck leader to operate your hand. You can do this by selecting your deck leader and pressing the square button. Okay. See the blue square? That's the area where you can place your summoned monster. Let's place the monster in a position directly in front of your card leader. Line up your cursor by pressing the up direction button and then press the X button. I'm doing this. I'm not doing anything, by the way. It's doing it all by itself. This is your current hand. It looks like maybe some good stuff, maybe? Apparently, there's only one monster in your hand that can be summoned to the field. I wonder why that is. Well, this is because summoning a monster requires a certain amount of power. Maximum power. Right there, it says 4 up there that we have. The spot currently indicated is where your currently available summoning power is displayed. So we have 4 summoning power right now, and all of our other monsters are over 4. At the start of the duel, you have 4 summoning power points. The amount will increase by 3 every turn, and you can accumulate up to a maximum of 12 points. When a monster is placed on the field, summoning power points equal to the monster's level are expended. Your current summoning power point total is 4. Hence, the only monster in your hand you can summon to the field is level 4 monster, the Celtic Guardian. The dark cards are the monsters that you are unable to summon this turn. Now let's summon the Celtic Guardian. First, move the cursor over the Celtic Guardian card. It's doing it all by itself. Press the X button. At this point, if you wish to cancel your selection, press the circle button. To enter your selection, press the X button once again. Now you've summoned the Celtic Guardian, and the card is ready for battle. And let's attack your opponent with the Celtic Guardian. To control a monster in the field, you must first activate the card you wish to move. Blue Eyes White Dragon. The Blue Eyes White Dragon is your opponent's leader. Let's try to attack the enemy leader. I don't think we can do that, bud. This is a losing battle. First, let's activate your monster by lining the cursor over the desired card and pressing the X button. See the yellow square? That indicates the space where your monster can be moved to this turn. Your opponent's card leader is directly ahead. Let's move straight into the space. To move your monster, you must select your destination with the cursor and press the X button. The Celtic Guardian advances 1 space, completing its move for this turn. Monsters can only move once per turn. However, a deck leader's summoning does not count as a move. Hence, the monster can move immediately after being summoned to the field. Since there is nothing else left to do this turn, let's end your turn. Then your turn, press the start button. Alright, Blue Eyes, go ahead and destroy me. From this point, it's your opponent's turn. Your opponent is summoning a monster and preparing to attack you. Dang, he just made so much ground there. Now it's your turn. There's an enemy monster headed your way. Let's use the Celtic Guardian to eliminate the threat. To attack your opponent's monster, all you have to do is move your monster into the same space occupied by the enemy monster. A monster attacking another monster is referred to as a battle. The outcome of the battle is decided by the attack and defense factors of the respective monsters. Putting the outcome aside, let's attack. Remember how to move your monster? Let's do that. Celtic Guardian is slice him up. There you go. So there is a little bit of a flash right there, where the glitch would happen, but it doesn't actually like zoom in all weird. Like it was like zooming in all weird. But yeah, it just has a little bit of like a flicker, it looked like. You've eliminated your opponent's monster and moved one space closer to your opponent's leader. Which we can't take out. I mean, come on now, it's a blue eyes white dragon. 3000 attack, right? Unless... Oh no, maybe it's a little bit different because it's deck the leader? I don't know, let's find out. However, your opponent is now aware of your monster's strength and will probably bring a more powerful monster into play to retaliate. Now let's take a look at the factors that govern the outcome of a battle. Here's how your attack played out. Your Celtic Guardian was in the attack position. Your monster automatically assumed the attack position whenever it moved. The attack position indicates that your monster has either moved or attacked. A monster that doesn't move and holds this position is said to be in the defense position. Currently, your Celtic Guardian and the opposing baby dragon are both in the attack position. The outcome of a battle is decided by comparing the strength of each monster. In this case, both monsters are in the attack position. Hence, the attack factor of both monsters are compared. The attack of the Celtic Guardian is 1400 and baby dragon is 1200. As a result, the baby dragon is eliminated and the attack difference of 200 is applied as damage points, damage against your opponent's life points. Now let's take a look at what might have happened if the opposing monster was stronger. Let's say your opponent had a Kumari dragon in play with the attack of 1500. The monster is much more powerful than your Celtic Guardian. I wouldn't say much, like what, 100 points? When you attack this creature, your Celtic Guardian is eliminated and you suffer 100 points of damage to your life points. What if the attack were equal? Let's say a winged dragon, Guardian of the Fortress #1, with an attack of 1400 is brought into play. What happens? Both monsters are eliminated and neither player suffers any damage to their life points. Now let's take a look at defense position. Hard Armor is a monster that is has a high defense factor. The card is currently horizontal or in the defense position. A monster set in the position that cannot move or attack. In battle, the defense of a monster in the defense position is used to decide the outcome. Although the defense of Hard Armor is fairly high, it is nothing compared to the attack of Celtic Guardian. Let's attack the monster. Hard Armor is eliminated. Note that eliminated monster in the defense position would not inflict any damage to the player controlling the eliminated monster. Now let's say what happens if the defending monster is Aqua Mador. This card has a defense of 2000. What happens when you attack this monster with your Celtic Guardian? Your attack is countered, and the 600-point defense difference between the attack in Celtic Guardian and the defense of Aqua Mador is inflicted against your life points. Since your attack failed, your attacking monster is driven back to its original position. What if you attacked a Rock Ogre Grotto #2, whose defense is equal to your monster's attack? Though no damage is applied to your life points, your monster is forced back to its original position. It concludes our lesson on battle outcomes. Now let's continue with the duel. As you recall, your Celtic Guardian successfully moved into a position where it could attack your opponent's leader. Your opponent's leader is unsupported and defenseless, leaving it wide open for a direct attack. Okay, so it does look like the deck leader's original attack, like it would be 3,000 for the Blue Eyes White Dragon, is not applied. So that's actually good to know. A direct attack is an ideal opportunity to inflict major damage to your opponent's life points. Attacking a leader will result in inflicting life point damage equivalent to the attacking monster's attack factor. Let's try a direct attack. The procedure is the same as setting up a battle between two monsters. You have inflicted 1,400 points of damage to your opponent's life points. You're now on your way to victory. As you can see, it is important to avoid direct attacks as much as possible. You should act immediately whenever any enemy monster is approaching your leader. Currently, you're winning. However, your opponent may retaliate. With this in mind, summon a monster with high defense points. Let's use this monster to protect the front of your leader. Since it has high defense, place it in the defense position. To set a monster into the defense position, follow the same step as movement and set the cursor over your monster card and select it for a move. Now press the L1 and R1 to toggle between attack position and defense position. Be careful that you don't move the monster into its destination space, as this will automatically set the monster into its attack position. Note that a monster card summoned on the field is initially placed face down and is hidden from your opponent's view. This card will be flipped face up whenever it attacks or is attacked by an enemy. You may also manually flip a card face up. To do so, select the card for a move and press the L2 or R2 buttons to toggle the card face up or face down. Once you have the card in your desired position, press the X button to enter your selection. However, you should note that a face-up card cannot be returned to a face-down position. That's why you should be very careful when you manually turn a card face-up. Your opponent has now summoned Kaiser Dragon, a powerful dragon-type monster. You don't have a monster that's strong enough to withstand an attack from this creature. Fortunately, you have a magic card on the field that's capable of stopping the attack of dragon-type monsters. Alright, Dragon Capture Jar, I say. Okay. In fact, this magic card is capable of preventing the movement of all dragon-type monsters on the field. Oh, okay, so permanently spellbinds all dragon monsters. Okay. Let's use the magic to stop the opposition and focus on continuing our attack on the opponent's leader. You can trigger a magic card by flipping it face up and completing its move. Flipping the card face up in the manner described earlier. The control inputs are the same for magic as those for monsters. Let's try activating a magic card. Dragon Capture Jar. Excellent. Well, he's dead, so... The opposing monster's been neutralized with the magic spell. Now let's go after the enemy leader. A duel can go either way. At times, you may find yourself cornered by a cunning opponent. There will be occasions where there's nothing you can do but accept defeat and go for a rematch. You may surrender a match by pressing the select button. Don't give up too quickly. A well-played card could easily turn the tide of battle in your favor. That concludes our lesson on the fundamentals of how to battle in a duel. As they say. Let's take a look at how a duel is settled. There are 4 individual conditions for deciding the outcome of a duel. One condition is to reduce an opponent's life points to 0. Your Celtic Guardian is about to execute a direct attack on your opponent's leader. Since your opponent only has an LP total of 1,000 points, we win. The damage you inflicted will reduce your opponent's life points well past 0. In short, you're about to emerge victorious. The following example is a more complicated situation for which the LP condition applies. In this scenario, the LP of both players are 500 points respectively. Your opponent has a not too powerful needle ball monster in play. However, the monster has a special ability. Inflict 500 points of damage against your opponent's life points when destroyed in battle. When this monster is eliminated in battle, it automatically inflicts 500 points of damage to an opponent's life points. Strength-wise, the Celtic Guardian is far stronger than the Needle Ball. Now let's take a look at what happens when you attack this monster. As you can see, the LP of both players has been reduced to 0. The result is a draw match. In this manner, the outcome of a duel is decided after all the triggered events have been taken into account. Be careful that you don't get dragged into a draw when you have a good chance of winning a match. Another condition that decides the outcome of a duel is the occupation of summon areas. The area indicated in blue whenever you attempt to summon a monster are called summon areas. If all of these areas are occupied by your opponent's forces, you will lose the match in play. To be more specific, if your opponent occupies all the summon areas at the end of your turn, you lose. If you find yourself surrounded, it is vital that you clear at least one of these areas before your turn is over. If your leader is in this position, that leaves you with only 3 summon areas. When you're at the edge like this, there are only a few summon areas, and if they are all occupied, you'll lose. Depending on terrain conditions, there are spaces that cannot be used as summon areas. In this situation, there are fewer summon areas. If they are occupied by your opponent, you'll lose. The next condition for deciding the outcome of a duel is LP comparison, resulting from the clock running out on a duel. The time remaining in a duel is displayed in this location. The number of turns remaining will decrease by 1 following the completion of your turn and that of your opponent's. When the number of turns remaining reaches 0, and both players complete their respective turns, the outcome of the duel will be decided. In this case, the player with the higher number of life points is declared the winner. Hence, maintaining a lead is a key strategy for the smart duelists. The final condition for winning is unleashing the power of Exodia, the Forbidden One. That, I would imagine, is extremely rare and challenging. It is said that somewhere in this world, there are 5 very rare cards known as Exodia, the Forbidden One, and its 4 forbidden limbs. Individually, these cards are weak due to the spells that bind them. However, once these spells are broken, an unstoppable force is unleashed. To release Exodia from the binding spells, the following steps are required. Exodia, the Forbidden One. First, Exodia, the Forbidden One must be brought into play as your deck leader. Okay, well, I mean, that already is kind of a challenging thing as it is just to get some of these cards. Then you must position the 4 limbs of Exodia in the surrounding summon areas. Ugh. This is basically like almost like impossible, I guess. I mean, I guess it can be possible, but it would be very, very hard to actually do this. Okay. From there, flip over to the attack position where you enter in your turn without any spells or controls preventing you from executing a normal turn. Exodia will be freed, as in your opponent will face hopeless defeat at the hands of this awesome creature. This concludes our lesson on victory conditions. That was very, very cool, actually, to actually see all that. I like that. I like that. Alright, I guess that's all of the tutorial, or is there more? Okay, there's a little bit more. Let's take a closer look at some of the other details and rules for dueling. First, you should be aware that there is a limit to the number of cards that can be placed on the field. Here is a situation in which several monsters have been summoned to the field. This display shows how many monsters you have in play on the field at the moment. Each duelist can only place 5 monsters respectively on the field. Any attempt to summon a monster that exceeds this aforementioned limit will result in the summoned monster being reduced to dust. Likewise, only 5 spell cards can be placed on the field. You should take care to leave a summon area open so you won't find yourself in a situation where you're unable to play a key card. Now let's talk about the consumption and recovery of summoning power points. Summoning power points are required in order to summon a monster to the field. At the onset of a duel, each duelist has 4 summoning power points. Hence, bringing a level 4 monster into play at the start of a duel will use up the total available summoning points for that turn. Summoning power points spent in this manner will gradually recover as time passes. At the beginning of your turn, 3 points will be added. Points that are not expended will continue to accumulate. However, you would not be able to accumulate over 12 points. Even in situations where the addition of points would exceed 12 points, you would not gain beyond the amount. Some monsters or spell cards can significantly help or hinder recovery of your summon power points. Use these to your best advantage. Now let's talk about spell cards and what happens in battle. When placed face down and unused, your opponents will not be able to tell whether you have a spell or a monster card in play. Like monster cards, spell cards can be attacked and can initiate attacks. The face-up monster card is yours. Your opponent has a spell card. When a spell card is attacked by a monster, it is easily destroyed. Although a spell card can be easily destroyed, attacking a spell card would never result in damage to your opponent's life points. Now you have a face-down monster card. If in monster versus monster battles, face-down monsters are turned face-up, Here's what happens with spell cards. As you can see, the spell card is destroyed, but the monster card remains face down. As a result, spell cards cannot be used to discover the identity of a monster card. The only way to do that is to attack with a monster card. Let's see what happens when a spell card is used to initiate attack. Similar to when it is attacked, the spell card is easily destroyed. It is still the case even if the monster card is in defense position. Spell card is destroyed. Let's see what happens when you use a spell card to initiate an attack against an opponent's face-down monster card. Although it can be verified, the card being attacked is a face-down monster card. As in the previous cases where a monster card attacked and destroyed a spell card, the monster card remains face down. You should always remember that although spell cards are capable of powerful magic, they can be easily destroyed. When you bring a spell card into play, you should move it carefully. Now let's take a look at what happens when your spell card attacks an opponent's spell card. The rules differ from these applied when battling a monster card. First, let's see what happens when you attack an opponent's spell card with a face-down spell card. In this case, the attack spell card is destroyed and the attacking spell card succeeds in penetrating your opponent's defense. Initiating an attack with a face-down spell card will let you avoid having the card turned face up when you wish to avoid it. The fundamental rules is that a spell card cannot turn an opposing spell card face up in battle. Let's see what happens when a face up spell card attacks an opposing spell card. Ah, it gets activated. This time, the spell card is activated. It's important to remember the conditions for activating a magic card. A magic card is activated when it completes its move face up. Hence, regardless of whether a battle occurs, the magic card is activated since it completed its move face up. As a result, you should be careful about moving a face-up spell card. Now we'll discuss terrain effects. The field on which a battle is conducted consists of spaces with various terrain features. The majority of these terrain features have their own unique energy force and often strengthens or weakens a monster. Let's take a look at an example. Right now, the Celtic Guardian is in a space where the terrain has no effect whatsoever on the card. The result is that both the attack and defense factors remain 1400 and 1200 respectively. Now let's move this card to the meadow space. Dang. In this space, the attack and defense factors increase by 500, raising the factors to 1900 and 1700 respectively. Since the Celtic Guardian is a warrior-type monster, it has an advantage when occupying meadow terrain. In this manner, whenever a monster is in its favored terrain, 500 bonus points are awarded. Another added bonus with a monster is in its favored terrain, it increases movement. If a monster starts its movement in a favorable terrain, the movement can move up to 2 spaces. A monster card with increased movement capability is noted in this area. Okay, M. When a monster with this mark is toggled to movement mode, the card's increased movement area is displayed in this manner. Please note that a face-down card is not awarded terrain bonus. This time, the Celtic Guardian is face down. Let's try moving the card. As you can see, there is no movement bonus awarded despite the fact that the monster card is located in a favorable terrain space. Now, let's turn the card face up. As you can see, as long as the card is face up, the movement bonus can be used. Hence, to take advantage of the movement bonus, you must first turn the card face up, and then select the space to which you wish to move. This time, we have a dark terrain space. Okay, Gyaku Tenno Megami is a fairy type which is not suited for dark terrain. When not affected by a terrain, the Gyaku Tenno Megami cards' attack and defense factors are 1800 and 1200 respectively. That is such a long name for a card. Now let's move this card into a unsuitable terrain space. Ah, it's that card. Okay, I was wondering what that card was. It's that one. Okay. Attack and defense factors of the card decrease 1300, 1500. In short, whenever a monster ends up in a unsuitable terrain, there are 500-point penalty applied to the card. Since terrain can significantly affect the outcome of a battle, you should plan your destination before committing to a move. Since we're on the subject of terrain effects, let's talk about terrain with special features. First of all, there's the Labyrinth terrain. The Labyrinth is an extremely powerful obstruction and cannot be entered by most monsters and spell cards, nor by a leader card. In addition, a Labyrinth space cannot function as a summoning area. However, a card that has entered a Labyrinth space by means of effects such as teleportation can easily exit the space and enter adjacent spaces. You can also initiate an attack against a monster located in a Labyrinth space. While Shadow has the ability to freely enter and exit the Labyrinth space, it is currently located in the Labyrinth space. The Flame Swordman has an attack capability that exceeds Wall Shadow. What happens when the Flame Swordman attacks the monster located in the Labyrinth space? As you can see, the opposing monster is destroyed. However, Flame Swordsman cannot enter the Labyrinth space. Aside from certain monsters, Labyrinth is a space that can never be entered, making the space ideal for preventing an advance. Use it wisely. Crushed terrain can be entered with no resistances and has no positive or negative effects on most monsters. However, this area is infected with a plague that will attack and destroy powerful monsters. Specifically, any monsters with an attack of 1500 or more will be immediately destroyed under any one of the following conditions. A monster is summoned in the crushed space, moves into a crushed space, is located in a space that has transformed into a crushed space, or is in a crushed space when either you or your opponent's turn ends. Since the Celtic Guardian only has an attack of 1400, it is not affected by a Crush card space since the Crush is not activated unless the monster has an attack of 1500 or more. On the other hand, the Flame Swordsman has an attack of 1800 that will activate the Crush. Virus. Yes, he got infected. The effect of a crushed space is deadly. However, there are no restrictions to exiting the crushed space and entering an adjacent space. In short, if you find your monster moved into a crushed space by means such as teleportation, you should avoid destruction by immediately moving out of the space. Since the crushed space is activated by the attack level, A leader which doesn't have any attack or spell can move normally in the space. As can be seen, there are various special features for particular terrain spaces. The mark of a good duelist is how well he or she can use the terrain to his or her advantage. Now we'll discuss spellbinding. This is honestly, I was not expecting a massive beast of a tutorial this long, but I'm learning a lot. I think I fully understand a lot of this game now. Spellbinding is a condition by which a card is unable to move as a result of spell or other means. When a card is spellbound, it cannot be moved, flipped, or repositioned for attack or defense. Let's see what happens when the Celtic Guardian is spellbound. Right now, the Celtic Guardian is unable to move due to a spell. The turn count for spellbound begins on the turn following the actual casting of the spell. So if a card is spellbound for one turn, it won't be able to move into the next turn, and regain movement on the turn following the next. There are situations in which a spellbinding can last more than one turn. In fact, there are very dangerous conditions. Eternal spellbinding, which doesn't release the bound card no matter how many turns may pass. At the moment, Celtic Guardian is held in an eternal spellbinding. Under this condition, the Celtic Guardian would not be able to move no matter how many turns you declared that your turn has ended. Instead of the number of turns remaining until the card is unable to move being displayed, an infinity marker is displayed instead. It is very difficult to break an eternal spellbinding. There are only a few monsters and spells that have the capability to free the spellbound monster. Aside from the aforementioned, the only other way to free a monster from spellbinding is to destroy it. Now let's take a look at the most common form of spellbinding, the attribute binding. Paradragon. The Paradragon is a wind attribute monster with an attack of 2000 and is much stronger than the Celtic Guardian. However, the Celtic Guardian is an earth attribute monster which places it in a more favorable position against wind attribute monsters. The advantages are displayed on attributes are displayed respectively during a battle. Let's see what happens when the Celtic Guardian attacks. The weaker Celtic Guardian is destroyed. However, the opposing Paradragon is now spellbound for one turn. In this manner, a monster of a lower attribute that survives a battle is spellbound in the turn that follows. The rule also applies even if both monsters survive the battle, as in a case where a monster is unable to destroy an opposing monster with the higher defense factor. Attribute differences can be effective when using a weak monster to render a stronger monster immobile. An opponent's powerful monster is in pursuit. You don't have any surprises up your sleeve, and your leader is isolated, creating a dangerous situation. Even under such desperate circumstances, a good duelist will bide for time, believing in the summoned monster and your chance of drawing a card that could turn the tide of battle. Your belief in the luck of the draw could be the key to winning a battle. Among duelists, this belief is referred to as the destiny draw. I'm surprised it wasn't going on more about the attributes. So with the attributes, dark beats light, light beats water, water beats fire, fire beats earth, earth beats wind, wind beats dark, and then, it just, yeah. Among duelists, this belief is referred to as a destiny draw. Depending on how desperate a situation and how gifted you are as a duelist, you may be granted the opportunity to attempt a destiny draw. it looks like victory may smile on you. This is your chance to draw the card that could turn the tables against your enemy. The Destiny draw opportunity is signaled by flashing the area that is normally used to indicate that you summon a monster from your hand. Drawing when the condition is indicated will usually result in the drawing of a card that will help you in the current predicament. Try drawing a card now. Take a look at the last card that you drew. This card on the far right. It should be a card that will bail you out of your current situation. Using this card wisely will help you overcome your desperate situation. However, you should remember that a Destiny draw depends on luck and only occurs once in a duel. When it might happen is anyone's guess. All you can hope for is that Lady Luck smiles on you when you need it. And that won't happen if your hand already consists of 5 cards. If that is the case, all you need to do is reduce your hand in the following turn in hopes of triggering a Destiny draw. Of course, if your deck is low on cards, there will be no Destiny draw. Luck is an important element to victory. Even the best duelist could lose without the aid of Lady Luck. All cards are deeply bound to the duelist. Your expertise is a vital key to strengthen the power of your deck. An indication of this is proved by rank, a record of a card's performance throughout all of your duels. A highly ranked card will demonstrate the special power unique to its nature when the card becomes a leader. Take a look at the Dark Magician ranked Field Marshal. Leader ability, I see. At this rank, this card's special powers are extended support range, increased strength of same type friendlies, and weaken specific enemy types. Let's take a look at your opponent's leader. The baby dragon has the following special powers: increased movement and open opponent's card. Since there are various special powers that evolve for each leader's monster, we won't be able to cover them all. To understand the concept, let's take a look at Baby Dragon's situation. The best way to learn about the special power of a card is to raise your own leader and watch it evolve through the course of battle. Baby Dragon has the power to turn any approaching enemy card face up for open viewing. Your Celtic Guardian is currently face down and near the enemy leader. Move the card towards the leader. The Celtic Guardian is automatically turned face up, revealing its identity to your opponent. The effect will also flip a face down spell card to the face up position. This is just a sample of one of the special powers that a leader has. To find out more, you will simply have to raise your own leader and watch the card evolve as you duel. That pretty much covers the rules of dueling. Is that everything? Oh my gosh. Wow. First, Rooster, you must select a deck to duel with. It is important that you feel the vibrations of a deck leader. The minute resonates that ring true to your soul. The cards themselves draw their power from the energies of the Ancient Ones. The deck leader acts as an intermediate between the Ancient Ones and the deck wielder. Rooster, it is essential that you select a card leader whose rhythm matches the stirrings of your soul. Here are several decks from which to choose. Give it some serious thought and make your selection. Choose carefully, for the deck you choose will guide your destiny of your duels. Alright. So, we can pick a different deck here. So this is basically, Reaper of the Cards, average summoning is 3.32. Giant Mech Soldier is like, okay, average summoning 4. Or Battle Steer. Because I've never played this, I don't know what would be like the ideal choice. But we have here the main attributes. We have Dark, Earth, and Water. Yami, Chi, Mizu. And then this one here, we have Dark and Earth, so Yami and Chi. And then we have just Chi. Earth. Okay, so... The main races, those are like beasts. That's like robots. That's like such an assortment of stuff. I'm kind of leaning towards this, to be completely honest with you. Giant Mech Soldier. I'm not really too interested in this particular one, Battle Steer, but I'm thinking about one of these two. This is the weakest one, 3.32. I'm thinking this one though, because the main races are just robots. It's just one, and you have Dark and Earth. This one you just have Earth, and you have like beasts and warriors and that sort of stuff, so that's a little bit more simple. But this one has like too much, I think. But that could give me such an amazing assortment of stuff. I really don't know. I think it would be best maybe to choose this. Just robots, androids. Then again, beasts are good too. Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do here. I mean, I could technically create a save state and see what all of our cards are for the different choices, but this is what I'm going to go with, I think. This is also the highest... It's almost the highest attack power. It's only 50 less. It is the highest... It's not quite the highest defense. This one's like weird, 1380 and 1930. That's always so weird. That's really, really weird. But this one, I think, is the most simple, and it has the highest summoning level. So that means there could be some absolute amazing beasts within here. So, let's go ahead and choose it. Ah, I see. You have selected your deck. So that's the effect of the Celtic Rose cards. It looks like there's some truth to the rumor that Red Rose cards are capable of time transformation. Who's there? It's been some time since the Battle of Barnet, Old One. Rosencrans, what brings you here? Only a member of the Rose Crusaders may call me that name. If you may recall, I told you once before that you may only address me as Seto. Or does memory fail you, old man? And you must be the dreaded Rose Duelist. I must admit, there's a certain aura of power emanating from you. I believe an introduction is in order. I am Seto, leader of the Rose Crusaders. There are members of our little group who prefer to call me by my name, the name of C. Rosencrans. Braves, I ask you again, what brings you here, Seto? Mind your manners, old man. What else would bring me here? I've come for the Red Rose cards. After all, it was you who showed me how the summoning capabilities would evolve when the Red Rose cards are combined with the transport powers of the White Rose cards. You aren't thinking of attempting the forbidden Rose summoning? If so, there are Red Rose cards must never fall into your evil hands. Card sorcery taps into the power of the Ancient Ones. By their very nature, Each card is a double-edged sword that can cut both ways. The rose cards alone harness tremendous power. There's no telling what horrors one might unleash to the world by combining both red and white. I will sacrifice my own life if need be to prevent any from uttering the spell of doom. The spell of doom? Fool. The 16 red and white rose cards grant power over all. Druid legend has twisted the true meaning of these cards. We Rose Crusaders have sworn to create a utopia free from the ravage of war. We intend to accomplish this with the power of the cards. And we shall do so by extending the rule of Richard III throughout the known world. By the way, it was clever of you to form a circle of red roses within the white rose barrier to summon the Rose Duelist. But you were foolish to come alone. This area is surrounded, and if you wish to leave with your life, you would do so only by handing over the red rose cards. Me? A fool? Then what about you? Are you the fool enough to actually believe the red rose cards will remain here in my possession? Right after the summoning, I had the cards dispersed among our best duelists to keep them from your tainted hands. And you leave me with one option. I shall enlist the aid of your precious Rose Duelist. You take leave of your senses. And you speak too soon, old man. Heed my words, duelists. If you wish to return to your proper time period, you will require 16 cards of the red and white roses. The red and white positions must be laid out in reverse of the summoning order to send you home. You know the spell? Since you need the 16 rose cards just as much as we do, I propose a partnership. Help us gather the cards and I shall guarantee your return after we've achieved our ultimate goal. An absurd proposal. Do you think that the Honorable Rusta would even lend an ear or foot to your ridiculous proposal? Can you be so sure, old man? Let me see. Simon's side has 8 of the red rose cards, while my side, the Rose Crusaders, has possession of 8 white rose cards. As the numbers are even, simple arithmetic indicates that you could side with either of us. But I'm sure you'll take into account who's winning this war. After all, who has desperate enough to summon you in the first place? I think it's quite clear which side is better positioned to send you home. But Rooster, heed not the words of this power-hungry lunatic. Simon, must you resort to name-calling? I'm hurt. I'll tell you what, why don't we leave the decision to our dear duelist? After all, Simon, the duelist's future is not for us to decide now, is it? Well, yes, but... Splendid. In keeping with the traditions of the old Temple Guardians, I offer you a choice, duelist. Here are 2 roses. The white represents me, and the red for old Simon over there. For the sake of justice, choose the red rose. Stand by my side, duelist. Choose the white rose. Who do we choose? Who do we choose? White rose or red rose? Well, we're going to go in order. Even though it did default to this one, we're going to start with the Yorkist first, so... Well, sorry, old man. Siding with the Yorkist. A wise choice, duelist. I see you are well versed in judging a situation. Welcome to the Rose Crusaders. I am honored. Okay, old man, it's time you made yourself scarce. What? What are you doing? Stop. No! Don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. I just need you out of the way until everything is settled. Now let's talk about the red rose cards. Simon mentioned that he spread the cards among certain individuals just after summoning you. I think it's safe to assume that a large number of the cards these individuals are his confederates currently located in France. I would like to ask you to enter France from Dover and retrieve these cards for our cars. I would go myself, however, I'm in need here to maintain our barrier against any invading forces. According to the legend, one must use a deck cost that is lower than an opponent's to capture a rose card. Okay, so that's another thing here. Our deck cost, in order to battle a duelist, it has to be less than what their cost is. So, which means you can't like overpower your deck with a bunch of crazy insane stuff because it'll increase the cost of your deck too much. So yeah. Of another color. Remember, a deck that costs lower than that of your opponent is the key. I've also heard somewhere that the Celts inherited their red rose cards from the original inhabitants of Stonehenge. That would mean that our enemy, Yugi, has come from a line of Welsh nobility, would likely have inherited one of the red rose cards. This means that those who oppose the Red Crusaders are sufficiently equipped to duel against as equals. Given their desperate situation, they will retaliate with everything they've got. It would be wise not to underestimate them. I'm depending on you. Okay, so as you can see, her deck cost is 956 Taya, or T, right? T, good old T. And our deck cost is 859, so it is definitely less. Yeah, this is basically a master choose a destination. Here's Stonehenge here. Can't really go there. Yeah, we can kind of flick it. And you can see all the other area here, as you can see. Pretty big map that will fill out as time goes on. Let's go and see. Let's view. Let's go ahead and save it first. Okay, help. Okay, dual bait. I think is this all? Is this just the tutorial again? I think it's just the tutorial again, right? Let's see. Just fast forward from this. Yes, it is. Okay. We can just skip that. We don't need to see it. We don't need to see it because we already saw it. Wrong. We saw these three. We did not see these last two. These last two were not part of the tutorial, which means... dual technique. Let's go ahead. Obviously, we're going to be learning more. It's going to be helpful to us, so... may as well give it a try. Now let's take a look at some dueling strategies. First, there's the combo formed in your existing hand. Combo is a technique for combining two or more weak cards to create a powerful force. One of the representative combos to dueling is fusion. Fusion combines two monster cards into one to form an even more powerful monster. If the card used in fusion are compatible, the monster formed will be very strong. Let's have a closer look at the fusion move. The Red Eyes Black Dragon is a dragon-type monster. It seems to be compatible with a Summoned Skull, so a fusion is likely to be successful. Let's give it a try. These numbers are referred to as a combo tag. They indicate the order in which cards need to be combined to form a combo. A combo is triggered by aligning larger numbered cards over smaller numbered cards. To set combo tag, press the up direction button. To cancel combo tag, press the down direction button. Now let's try setting up a combo tag with Summoned Skull. A combo tag has been set for Summon Skull. You now have a combo in place that will allow you to combine Red Eyes Black Dragon with Summon Skull. Press the X button to enter the combo and see what happens. This is just like trial and error. You would have to just try this out to see if it actually works. The fusion is successful and you now have a Black Skull Dragon, a powerful level 9 monster card. Let's take a closer look at what happened. As I mentioned, the Black Skull Dragon is a level 9 monster. However, there were only 8 summon power points available. The fusion was possible due to a summoning power calculation that is specific to combos, resulting in the economical use of the summoning power points. This is where the power point consumption value is displayed for the Red Eyes Black Dragon Summon Skull combo. It currently shows 7 points. In this manner, the summon power points required for a combo is set at the value of the highest level card in the combination. In this case, the Red Eyes Black Dragon at level 7 is the highest level monster in the combo, and 7 points are expended. For most cases, a fusion results in a higher level monster. So in this fusion, the result was a monster of a level that exceeds the current summoning power points. In fact, there is still 1 point remaining after the Black Skull Dragon was formed Black Skull Dragon. This remaining point will be carried over to the next turn and may prove you with an opportunity to summon yet another powerful monster. As previously mentioned, compatibility is the key to successful fusions. Combining incompatible monster cards will only result in the monster being destroyed and sent to the graveyard. In this case, a fusion is being attempted with 2 non-compatible monster cards. Since they are non-compatible, the lower combo tag monster is destroyed when the fusion fails. There are numerous combinations for fusions, but you would be wise to select your monster carefully, otherwise you may lose more than you gain. In some cases, a fusion combo can consist of 3 or more monsters. Let me show you a very powerful combo that will allow you to summon a Black Skull Dragon even if you do not have a Red Eyes Black Dragon in your hand. The key to this combo is creating a Red Eyes Black Dragon by fusion, and then combining the result with a Summon Skull. First, combo a Kamari Dragon with a Typhoon 2. Then tag a Summon Skull as the combo element. The Red Eyes Black Dragon is expected as a result of the combination dragon. Now, the combo is ready to be executed. Take a look at the summoning power value. In this current combination, the monster with the highest level is the Summon Skull at level 6. This means that the required number of points for the fusion summoning is 6, 1 point less than the previously executed combo. Let's try it. You have successfully summoned a Black Skull Dragon and have 2 summoning power points to spare. In this manner, you can save on summoning power by creating combos from low-level monsters. The downside is that you'll need to maintain a sizable hand and you may end up sending several monsters to the graveyard. The best thing to do is plan your combos accordingly to your current situation and the cards in your hand. Now we'll discuss power-up combos. This is a power-up magic card, a type of spell card. A power-up magic card has no effect when played alone. However, when it is combined with the compatible card for combo play, it can have a special effect on a monster. The steps for triggering a combination involve a power-up magic card is the same as fusion combos. Let's try strengthening Red Eyes Black Dragon with Dragon Treasure. Yeah, give it that nice little boost. There we go. As you can see, there's an increase of 500 points with the monster's attack standing at 2900 and its defense at 2500. Power magic also depends on the compatibility. Unlike fusions, however, you can check the details of a monster. To do so, hover over the card and press the triangle button. Details of the power-up magic cards that are compatible with your monster are listed in the row marked power-up card. It looks like the legendary sword card currently in your hand is not compatible with your Red Eyes Black Dragon. And let's see what happens if you try to combine the two for combo play. Oh no, we're gonna waste our Red Eyes. Oh no, it's horrible. Aligning the two cards results in the destruction of the Red Eyes Black Dragon. The legendary sword that was summoned to the field, consuming 7 summoning power points. Oh my gosh. Normally the use of the spell card doesn't require summoning power points, however, when played as a combo, the summoning power consumption rule for combos is applied. Make sure you don't waste the cards in your deck. It would be best if you check on compatibility prior to attempting a combo. You can combine 2 or more power-up magic cards for a combo. Tagging your cards properly is very important when attempting a combo. Always make sure that a larger valued card is placed on the lower ranked tag. Let's give a combo a try. Oh yes, mega boosted. Yes. The power-up is successful and attack now stands at 3400 while defense is increased to 3000. You should note that a fusion and a power-up can be combined for combo play. If you play your cards right, you can bring into play a very powerful monster with just a single summoning. Let's try a combination that summons a Black Skull Dragon by fusing and combines with the Dragon Treasure for extra power. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be insane. This thing's gonna be an absolute beast. Absolute beast. That thing's basically indestructible. One hit kill for Blue Eyes. Now you have a very powerful monster with an attack of 4200, defense of 3500. Very powerful monster can hope to survive a battle with this creature. Although there's a negative aspect in which a combo of this nature requires a set number of certain cards to be collected, there are definite advantages when one considers that you can quickly bring a powerful monster into play using the minimum of summoning power. This means that you can boost the power of your weaker monsters to face off against some of the opponent's more powerful creatures. For this point, the combos described were created from your hand. Now let's take a look at combos that use the field cards that are already in play on the field. Combos using the cards in play provide you with an opportunity to create powerful monsters, even if your luck with the draw is going bad. In-play card combos are similar to in-hand combos using 2 cards. Both fusion combos and powerful combos use the same combinations. For in-play card combos, move the 2 cards that you wish to combine so that they overlap each other, as if you were attacking an opponent's card. As present, a Red Eyes Black Dragon and Summon Skull are in play on the field. Let's attempt a fusion with these 2 cards. The fusion successfully formed a Black Skull Dragon just like an in-hand fusion. It's important to note that you can also apply combos that combine in-hand and in-play cards for fusions or power-up plays. If you can select a space in your summoning area that contains one of your monsters for an in-hand summoning. There's a Summon Skull in play on the field. Let's use the space where the monster is located as the summoning area for a combo using this card. You currently have Red Eyes Black Dragon and Dragon Treasure in your hand. Using these 2 cards in combination with the Summon Skull, let's attempt a power-up fusion combo. First, set up a fusion combo with Summon Skull by placing the Red Eyes Black Dragon card in combo tag 1. Next, set up a power-up combo with the monster formed, placing the Dragon Treasure in combo tag 2. By triggering the combo, you now have successfully formed the same monster which you previously formed in your hand. What an absolute beast. In this manner, you can attempt combos by using your in-hand and in-play cards. Compared with in-hand combos, special care must be taken with respect to the order in which the cards are combined. Compared to in-hand card combos, in-play card combos could be inconvenient due to factors such as the limited number of positions on the field that can be used. However, there is no guarantee that a duelist will always draw the necessary cards. The key to victory lies in the duelist's flexibility in using either of the combos to the best advantage. There are situations where both the duelists are evenly matched on the field and unable to initiate an attack. At times like this, the duelist may draw a card that could offset the balance, but be unable to play the card due to the 5-card limitation. That restricts the total number of monsters and spell cards allowed on the duelist side of the field. If you find yourself in this situation, you may wish to use your leader to destroy one of the unwanted cards in the field to make room for another card. The current field is filled with 5 monsters, and you have a powerful monster in your hand. Let's use the leader to eliminate Ma Barrel, and make room for another monster. To destroy your own card, simply move the leader over the card you wish to eliminate. The leader moves on to Ma Barrel and sends it to the graveyard. As this is a drastic move that depletes your resources, it is best if you minimize the use of this move. Let's take a look at how to look at your cards. The explanation that follows describes how to look at the info on your cards in various situations. First, let's take a look at how to view the info on an in-play card that you are about to command. Currently, the card indicates by the cursor is Celtic Guardian. The basic info for the card is already displayed. For more detailed information, leave the cursor where it is and press the triangle button. These are the details for Celtic Guardian. It shows standard info such as attack, defense, type, and level. With the screen, you can check all the standard info related to this card. The card has also other additional features that can be reviewed by choosing one of the 4 selections listed in the menu at the lower part of the screen. To toggle between menus, press the up and down direction buttons. The screen has switched over to the special infos, which currently lists the special powers of the Celtic Guardian. When monsters or spell cards have special powers like the Celtic Guardian, this is the place to look for details regarding these powers. This screen has switched over to the power-up cards. This section lists the specific power-up magic cards that can be used with the Celtic Guardian. A monster with even one power-up magic card for upgrading its strength will have a list in this section detailing the card's effects. However, power-up magic cards cannot be used on the leader. Also, there are power-up magic cards that affect all monster cards. However, the name of these magic cards are not listed, requiring an effort on the duelist's part to identify them. The selection at the bottom is the leader ability. This section lists the capabilities of a card when it is chosen to act as a leader. Since a leader must be a monster card, this section only applies to monster cards. No specific power will be listed unless the leader has reached a certain rank. Detailed info can be viewed in various situations. For example, detailed info is invaluable when you need to judge what card to summon from your hand. To see the details of the card in your hand, move the cursor over the desired card as if you were selecting the card for a summoning and press the triangle button. Let's look at the Red Eyes Black Dragon. The steps for viewing the info is the same as for viewing in-play cards. Checking details is also important when selecting a card to be resurrected from the graveyard. Here's a list of available cards in the graveyard. Let's take a look at the details of the Red Eyes Black Dragon currently in the graveyard. The cursor is currently over the desired monster. Press the triangle button to view the card. The detailed info is now on screen. To view additional information, use the same steps as those that are for previous cards in your hand or on the field. In a duel, even the slightest advantage of a card's capabilities could mean the difference between winning and losing. It would be wise to consistently check the capabilities of your cards so you can maintain your advantage in a duel. Now let's discuss trap cards. Trap cards are a type of spell card. Unlike magic, they cannot be triggered at will. But since an enemy's move could trigger the card, and interference with the opponent's movement, they could be effective when used wisely. Trap cards can be broken down into two major categories. One is a limited range trap. The other is a full range trap. An opponent's powerful monster is approaching. You don't have a monster that can face it in battle. However, you have a trap card prepared to stop the creature. A spellbinding circle is a powerful trap that will only reduce the power of the monster, but will also bind the monster for 3 turns. Let's see the trap to use it to stop the monster. The area displayed in purple shows where the limited range trap can be triggered. If an enemy's card that is vulnerable to the trap card enters this area, this card will be activated. The spellbinding circle works against both monsters and spell cards. Now let's switch over to your opponent's turn and watch the trap in action. The enemy's monster's attack and defense factors are reduced, and the card has been rendered spellbound. A limited range trap only works in a limited area. However, it is ideal for targeting a specific enemy. Now let's take a look at the situation where an enemy is just about a step away from attacking your leader. The leader is within the range to trigger your own trap. What happens in this case? As you can see here, the trap is triggered once an attack is initiated in the area, hence the trap effect is prioritized over the attack. Using this aspect to your advantage, you can protect your leader by placing a trap card nearby to act as guardian. Needless to say, your opponent is well aware that you make such an attempt, hence, your opponent will be wary of any face-down cards located near your leader or other vital cards. Of course, you could use this awareness to your advantage and bluff your opponent. Let's discuss full range traps. In addition to blocking an enemy attack, Mirror Force is a powerful trap card that will destroy all enemies who are in the attack position. What's more, the card is a full-range trap that can be triggered whenever an enemy attacks one of your cards anywhere on the field. As present, your leader is in a desperate situation, cornered by several enemy monsters. However, you have a trap card in place that can effectively protect your leader despite the distance between the 2 cards. Dang, everything just wiped out there. A foolish attack on the part of the enemy, resulting in the destruction of all the pursuing monsters. As you can see, a full-range trap responds to your opponent's move with devastating results. Given the power nature of full-range traps, these cards are extremely rare. When compared to a limited-range trap, the full range is extremely powerful. However, it has its disadvantages, as it is difficult to keep under control due to its wide-range coverage. Unlike a limited-range trap, it cannot be directed at a specific enemy, nor is it ideal for protecting certain cards on the field. Despite these disadvantages, a full-range trap is extremely effective. If you're lucky enough to get one, use it carefully. spell binding circle on the field has been flipped face up. A trap card can still be effectively triggered even if it is face up. Normally, maintaining a hidden trap is a well-timed activation is more effective form of a tactic's point of view. However, there are times when a card is exposed due to factors such as an opponent's magic spell. Whether a trap card has been exposed willfully or by force, you cannot move a face-down trap card. Face-up trap card. Since a face-up trap card like this cannot be moved, your opponent can easily destroy the card. If you want to keep the trap in play, you should protect it with your monsters or other cards. Finally, let's look at Ritual Magic. Ritual Magic is a type of spell card and is used in a manner similar to magic cards. All Ritual Magic cards have the same function. By sacrificing 3 of your own specific monsters, Ritual Magic will summon one very powerful monster. Depending on the Ritual Magic, the monsters required for sacrifice are specified. For example, this Ultimate Dragon Ritual requires the sacrifice of 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. That's like going to be like impossible to actually do. That. Come on now. You have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons in the field. Now let's use the Ritual Magic card. Dang. It's so nice though. It's so nice to see that. The 3 sacrifices are destroyed and a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is summoned in their place. Since Ritual Magics require quite a bit of preparation and the destruction of 3 monsters, it is not easy to bring it into play. However, it is ultimately rewarding in that every Ritual Magic can call up an extremely powerful monster. That completes an explanation of the various possible battles that you may encounter in a duel. Okay, that's that section. There's one more section. My voice is absolutely destroyed, by the way. Finally, duel-related functions. This is it. But I am learning a lot. It's actually very helpful, actually. Let's have a look at several functions that will assist in your enjoyment of a dueling experience. Here's your situation. You've just started a duel. First, let's summon a monster. You've summoned a monster, now let's see what cards you are holding in your hand. Whenever you wish to check the cards in your hand after summoning, simply place the cursor over your leader and press the square button like you did when summoning a monster. If you find you've forgotten what cards are in your hand, use this function to review your cards. During a duel, you may have the opportunity to revive a destroyed card. On such an occasion, you may wish to view the cards in your graveyard. To do so, press the R1 button when the cursor is mobile on the field. This will display the contents of the graveyard. Pressing the left and right direction button will toggle between the graveyard and your opponents. To see the details of a card selected with the cursor, press the triangle button. Move the cursor by pressing up and down direction button to toggle between pages L1 and R1. When you wish to close the graveyard, press circle. You can also change the various settings of a duel. To do this, press the L1 button when the cursor is mobile on the field. A setting screen will appear. To change the setting of each selection, press the left and right direction buttons. The monster battle selection allows you to toggle the battle animations between monsters on or off. Setting this to on will allow you to enjoy some very intense battles. Oh yes, this is the best setting in the game, turning it to mono. The sound selection is for music and sound effects. Modify these settings to suit your needs. To enter the modification settings, press the X button, and cancel your settings, press the circle button. During a duel, you may wish to have an uncluttered view of the field. If this is the case, you can easily switch off the various info windows displayed on the screen. Yeah, because basically the whole game is just HUD. To do so, simply press the L2 button when the cursor is mobile on the field. To switch the display back on, press the L2 button once again. At times, you may want to take a broader view of a situation. Currently, the view is set to provide you with an ideal angle and direction from which to observe a duel. These settings can also be changed. The left analog stick rotates the view. Tilting the left or right with the cursor is mobile on the field will rotate the field left or right without changing the height of your view. Tilting up and down will raise the height of your view and will vertically rotate the field. The right analog stick controls the distance of your view. Tilting up or down will zoom the area where the cursor is positioned. Okay, thank you for that nice, that must be a glitch. That must be that glitch when you don't have the patch on. Which the patch is on, so yeah, it was like, we still want to glitch it up. Tilting down will zoom out of the area when your cursor is positioned. Thank you. If you wish to return the view to default position, hold down the L3 and R3, press the analog sticks, okay. Although these functions do not directly affect the duel, they do allow you to make a game run smoother. Try them out if there's a setup that bothers you. And that pretty much covers the various functions. Okay. So we have now officially we've officially covered all that sort of stuff there. Under help. Here's the options. We already saw that abbreviation, that sort of stuff. Let's take a look at our deck that we just got with the machine deck and everything. Here's our yeah, there's everything in our deck, and here's our actual deck here. Looks absolutely amazing. Let's view our deck later. Okay, here he is. Giant mech soldiers, a machine, 1750, 1900. Okay, basic info, no special. Okay. And leader ability. He has no leader ability. I don't know if any of these will have a leader ability or what, but does not appear to be that they have any leader abilities yet. But also, if you press triangle again, there you go, right there. Yeah, you can view a 3D model of it. You can zoom out. Oh wait, what's that in the back? Oh, like a fire thing? Okay, so I mean, you can do that for every single thing. Imagine you probably can't do it for like trap cards or anything, or like magic cards, but I mean, it's nice. Sitting in her blue chair with her long purple hair and her gigantous boobs just hanging out. Ooh, what about these? Are they actually attacking each other in the... No. It's just... Okay, so the green dinosaur is not the one. Yeah, you can't view information for those. But we'll take a look at more of this, I guess, as we draw the cards. This one... Increase the attack and defense of monsters. What sparks? 50 life point damage, okay. That's absolutely lovely, but if you remember, when I did Forbidden Memories at the very end, you get a password. If you press... There you go, you gotta press R3 here. Let's put in this password now, shall we? Okay, 532-97534. Password import failure. There's no card. Excuse me. You were saying, game? That's right. Alright. Password import successful. Obtain the following card. Mirror Wall. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how did I actually obtain it? Okay, well, we'll talk about that. Let's see what this amazing beast does first. It costs 99, which is wow. Permanent trap that triggers when an enemy initiates an attack against your leader or other cards in the field and reduces the attack of the enemy by half. Well, I think we just found probably one of the most overpowered cards in the game, and this is the password that I got at the end of Forbidden Memory. So, hey, I'm not cheating, right? I'm not cheating? Well, let's just say this, okay? I mean, technically you're not supposed to be able to obtain that card, as you saw. Even with the Redux mod, it didn't allow me to get it, so I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we're just going to play the Redux II mod. So the Redux II mod, a little bit different than the Redux 1 mod. It has all the same core features as the first one, but it has some additional features that I wanted to mention. Fuse rituals in the hand. You can switch opponents in custom duel, which we'll see in just a moment. It's easier to obtain cards. You can reincarnate cards after every duel instead of every 5. We will see that during our adventure as well, where you can turn an old card into something brand new and much, much better. There's no deck cost restriction in the post-game, so once you complete one path, you can have unlimited deck costs in the latter half, which is going to be fun. There's some music changes to the Duelists. There's the duel arenas and maps that are also different, all changed. And the starter decks have been adjusted, but because I just loaded up my save from the first run, we still have this machine deck that we're going to be running, and we're going to be putting this into the deck. What would be like the best thing to get rid of? Maybe this, I don't know about this. The Steel Scorpion could actually be kind of good though, you know what I mean? How about, you know what? Get rid of a sparks. There's like 3 sparks in here. 3 sparks in here. There we go. Move that in there. Now that increases my... That increases my points a lot here, so I'm curious. Has it overseeded her? Oh, look at that. I am 1 point under. 956, and she's 957. So, ma'am, I'll be using that mirror wall on you. Let's go ahead and give it one more save here. And let's go ahead and return to the title screen. So the title screen of Redux 2 is a little bit different as well. And by a little bit different, I mean it's basically just the... Well, let me actually show you the full one. Okay, there it is. It's basically just the Japanese title screen. Anyway, custom duel. It mentions something about custom duel, so it has to load up your save data. And who you... It basically, I think, I guess, picks a random opponent for you, because you can't actually change the opponent. Well, in Redux 2, if you press L1 and R1, you can change the opponent. And I believe Deckmaster K is a clone of you. So, I'm not sure. Obviously, these other ones, Deckmaster K is basically us. This one is a much weaker version. And this one is relatively strong as well. Different versions. But you can't normally do that. I guess, I don't know how it chooses the opponent, but you can also choose the other opponents that you have here. And you can change life point settings. Recharge rate of that. You can select decks. You can have multiple decks. You can build your deck here. So we may look at that later, but not right now. But anyway, now that we have officially covered everything in this game, because oh my gosh, I tell you, there's a lot of tutorial, but I think I have a better understanding now, and I'm really kind of liking the concept. And I'll see how well I actually did. The thing I don't like are the requirements for like a deck. Like you have to have under a certain limit here. It's like, I want to max out my deck, but obviously I'm not going to be able to. But right now, yeah, we'll be pretty good. So next time, we're going to be moving away from Stonehenge. Look how gigantic that we are, by the way. And we're going to be fighting off against Taya, or T. good old T, right? Because, yeah, I mean, she's... I don't know how hard she's going to be. I don't know how much she has changed since the original. Obviously, her battle arena is different. Things along those lines are going to be different, but we'll see how it is. I've never played the original, never played the first Redux mod. This is Redux 2 with a mirror wall now, so... I wonder if we could go back to the first Redux now that we have a mirror wall. I don't know. Anyway, see you then.